On an isolated island, there was a hole. Nothing went in or came out for decades. The hole was just a mystery, until one day something did emerge. A Gnomie. Gnomies are magical creatures, but even Bob and his clan were surprised that he took human form after emerging from the hole. He even tried to go back through the portal to turn himself back, but it didn't work, so Bob decided to make the most of it. He conjured up the most beautiful house he could imagine for him and all of his Gnomie friends. Welcome back to my channel. It's so good to have you here. I'm very excited about this build. This is near and dear to my heart. So now that you know Bob's story, I'll give you a little more context about this build and where it came from. So I'm calling this the Gnomie House Build Challenge. And actually, I was given this challenge from my dear friend Sihu. And I'm just getting around to making it now because we opened it up to the community, which still stands if anybody wants to partake. I will put all the rules for this challenge in the description. But the history of this challenge kind of goes back to when I first started streaming. I was just building a cottage one day in Sims, and that day I had a couple new people pop in that have now been such a huge part of my community, and I'm so thankful for them. And we just had so much fun. I mean, that stream, well, I think I'll always remember it, but I just thought, I was gonna build a little cottage. It wasn't gonna be anything too crazy, and from there I filled every inch I could on that piece of land, on that lot, and we went for like an overgrown witchy vibe, and we covered it with Gnomies. And then we just started naming all of them and creating lore about the witchy house and all the lot traits. It became a haunted house, and it was a hot spot for teens to hang out. And we had played with the tragic clown coming out of the picture frame because I've never done that before. And then we also played around with turning your sim into a plant sim. So it just became this iconic build for me and my community, the spoopy house. And it's just so special to me. I'll always remember it. And so kind of the love of Gnomies spawned from that time period too. Like I said, we named all the gnomes on the build. I mean, we had the ghost gnome was named Chad Michael Murray, Ghosty Boy. We had Grim, whose name was Todd. We had Sir Bob, who's our beloved naked gnomie, the star of this show. And the pool gnomie, Miss Crumplebottom. I mean, so we just had so much fun. Around this time too was when we realized how much we enjoy coming up with lore together on stream. I mean, I feel like there's so many times me and chat would just start diving down a rabbit hole about how, the tragic clown, has a grudge against our witch, and so now she has like this dungeon with all these pictures of him because they broke up. Like, we just would go on, and it was always one of my favorite things. I mean, still is to this day. I always appreciated that. And so I feel like with this build challenge, it was like the perfect amount of rules and freedom to just kind of, create. So with this build challenge, some of the rules like Sihu gave me was 1 gnome per room. Each gnome that was in that room had to inspire the decor. And then you had to have all the gnomes the same size. So whether you scaled them up or scaled them down. And then you could have 1 room with 2 gnomes. If they're doing an activity that you can't do alone. So outside of those rules, then she said, go wild, like let your imagination just go and create something. So I felt like I definitely wanted to take advantage of, that storytelling and freedom for this build. But yeah, so which actually reminds me, one last thing to note. The sim, Sir Bob, our star of the show, that sim was created by Sihu as well. She created me a gnome sim for a different gameplay that we were working on. I mean, if you can't tell, we kind of like gnomes. But I made him ripped because I feel like the naked gnome is a lot more ripped than her original gnomie that she made me. But it also inspired me to go down the road of like having Bob the gnome turn into a human. So that was kind of fun to explore and, kind of wonder what happened and even if he'll ever turn back or if he'll want to turn back. But with all that said, I'm going to stop talking now so you can just enjoy the rest of the speed build. Thank you again so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next one.